So I saw a video on YouTube a few weeks ago. One of our clients sent it to me and I thought it was very, very interesting. And it's simply about a guy who is going through the Italian yacht market and yacht industry and how it has changed and how it's more of a production system or a factory system and how it is subcontracted out. And you go through it, I'll give my comments as we go. It's not a bad thing or a good thing, but tell me what you think. Add your comments and tell me what do you think about their system, our system. And I want to give some clarity and even amplify where it's necessary as to the truth or the validity of what the video is about. So I'm gonna go through and tell you yes, no, and even in cases where we at Monarch Yachts copy the same model. Now there's an evolution, and what you'll find is that how yachts were built or ships were built 100 years ago does not apply today, same as cars. And so you'll find that it's a bit different. But secondly, nothing is wrong with how yachts are made. The key thing is the yacht that you're looking for, how it's made. So for example, you may go to the store, to your local car dealership and buy a car off the lot. I'm perfectly happy with it. It will last you 10, 20 years and you're happy. Or you might say, you know what, I want to get the top of the line Rolls Royce, but I want to choose the leather, I want to choose the wood, I want to choose the fabric, I want to choose the engine, and that make you happy also. Or in our case, you might say, you know what, I want a car and I want to design my own car. So it's not good or bad if you get one of those three categories. It's what you can afford and what fits you. Another example is house. You can go to one of the top builders in America and say, you know what, they're building a community, I want this house or this model, and you'd be perfectly happy. Or you might say, you know what, I'm buying a property, I'm buying the land, I'm hiring the architect, I have an engineer, and I want to design my own custom homes. So that's how yachting works. And this video is more focused on one group of yachting or yacht building, and it's not necessarily how all yachts are made. And at Monarch Yachts, we're more on the end of custom yachts. And so let's play this video and I'll bring some commentary as we go along.
Of a yacht worth 5 million euros. Teak wood burns your feet, stainless steel shines in the sun, and in your hand, you hold a glass of Prosecco. You feel like you've bought a dream, you bought made in Italy, you bought the heritage of hundreds of years of boat building tradition. But what if I told you that what you are standing on is largely an illusion? That this yacht...
So I want to pause on this before I get into it. And the issue is, you buy a boat made in Italy, or just maybe general in Europe, or Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Asia, which is China, Taiwan, Vietnam, Thailand, or made in the United States, or made in South America. And people apply different values to those yachts because it's made in a certain country. And I want to tell you, do not do that. That is dangerous. Don't focus on where it's made. Your key should be how it's made. And I will say this, and I like a certain brand in Europe. We modeled our company after something that they do. But there are companies in America that build some of the best yachts in the world. So don't worry about where it's made. The key thing is how it's made, and spend more time. For example, I travel all over just for my business, my shipyard in Europe. I will tell you this, you get a French fry in the United States, a French fry in Turkey, a French fry in Europe, it tastes the same. It didn't matter where it was made. McDonald's have a standard. They have a brand. And McDonald's makes sure that wherever you get a McDonald's, it's the same taste. It's the same consistency. So don't focus as much as to where it's made. It's the company behind it and how they make it. So yes, everyone loves to have a made in Italy, and it sounds really good. Or Italian leather sounds really good. But I want you to, going forward, assess your yacht based on the quality that's put into that yacht. And I'll give you some more examples as we go along. So let's keep rolling.
Yacht, proudly bearing the logos of Ferretti, Riva, Azimuth, or Pershing, actually did not originate from the shipyard you are thinking of. That his heart, hull, was cast in the same factory as the competitor's yacht by the same people from the same bucket of resin. Welcome to the real world of the Italian yacht industry, a world where shipyards have become marketing offices and craftsmanship has given way to ruthless cost optimization. For the next few minutes, I will take you on a journey not through marinas, but through dusty industrial halls that you would prefer not to know exist. This is a report on how yachts are really built today. Let's start with the basic concept, shipyard. It used to mean a place where a ship was built from the first plank to the last screw. Today, in the case of giants like the Ferretti Group or Azimuth Benetti, the word has lost its original meaning. The modern headquarters of a luxury brand is primarily a center for design, logistics, and sales. Big brands understood one thing: production is dirty, expensive, and risky. Maintaining gigantic furnaces for heating composites, hiring hundreds of laminators, storing tons of toxic chemicals, all of this generates fixed costs. What happens when a crisis comes and orders drop? The factory stands still and incurs losses. Therefore, the Italian yacht industry has undergone a quiet revolution. It has transitioned to a model known from the automotive or electronics industries, the system integrator model. Most of the models you see in catalogs, ranging from 40 to even 100 feet in length, are not entirely produced in the parent facilities in Forlì, La Spezia, or Avigliana. There, only the grand finale assembly takes place. The hull arrives on a truck from one company, furniture from another, engines from a third. Today, the shipyard is a luxury assembly plant for Lego blocks for millionaires. But where do these blocks come from? And here we reach the biggest mystery of the industry.
So let's start with a shipyard. And I want to get out our factory. So a factory is where the boat is made. It's where you have the resin and the welding, and it's dirty and it's noisy, and that is a factory. But like Monarch Yachts, I'm in North Palm Beach, Florida, and this is not a factory. This is our office, because we do different things in different places. In our case, our factory is in Turkey. We have other places like Italy and China that we do work sometimes based on what they're good at. And so that is it. So let's look at different systems. In the US model, you'll have a factory making everything, from the nuts and bolts to the entire process. So let's call it the Boeing model, where everything is made. Or there may be the Airbus model, let's call it the European model, where the wing may be made in France, engine may come from England, and Italy makes something else. And so they all get assembled in one place. And they both work really, really well. The key thing is, what we try to do at Monarch is, what is the best thing? So for example, if a certain location made the best steel, why should we invest in our own steel? They're making 1,000 of these parts a month, we're making 10. They have developed an expertise and an efficiency in doing that. So nothing is inherently wrong in factoring out part of your production if that company that you're using make a better material because of efficiency that they have achieved, or consistency, or buying power. We may buy for 1 month, let's say we buy 20 barrels of resin. They may buy 100 barrels of resin. So nothing is inherently wrong with that. A production boat, like he mentioned, they're making hundreds of boats a month. And so they have to keep things going. We make 1 or 2 or 3 a year. Very, very different. And so nothing is wrong in the business model of what he describes. It's all about efficiency. So off the bat, it sounds like if you're getting a cheaper product. Not necessarily. It's a production boat versus a custom boat. It's efficiency versus customization. Let's keep going, chapter 2.
Let's move to the Marche region, to the city of Fano. Here, away from the flash of cameras in Cannes, beats the true industrial heart of Italian yachting. This is where a company that most yacht owners have never heard of is located, Carbon Line. Carbon Line is not a small subcontractor workshop. It is an industrial behemoth, 3 gigantic production facilities with a total area of over 22,000 square meters. It is a factory that churns out more than 60 powerful yachts annually. Officially, on its website and in industry reports, Carbon Line boasts of producing for Azimut Yachts, Benetti, Ferretti Yachts, Riva, Pershing, Itama, and Custom Line. Let's pause here for a moment. Azimut and Ferretti are long-standing market rivals. They compete for the same customer, convincing them of their uniqueness, of their DNA. Meanwhile, their hulls, the most important structural element of the yacht, determining seaworthiness and safety, are produced in the same hall, side by side. Imagine this scene. On Monday, the laminating team is pouring the hull for the exclusive legendary Riva. On Tuesday, the same people, using the same vacuum infusion machines and the same glass mats, are pouring the hull for the mass-produced Azimut. Where is the uniqueness here? Where is the artisanal secret? The process is unified. This is vacuum infusion technology. The dry material is laid in the mold, covered with a bag, and the pump sucks out the air and draws in the resin. It's great technology, but in mass production, on a piecework basis, it becomes a purely industrial process. In the Carbon Line, there is a furnace measuring 30 by 7 meters, a gigantic microwave for curing yachts, all to release the mold faster for the next client because the queue is waiting.
So let's go on chapter 2. So he spent some time about all these great Italian brands making the same basic product in the same place. So let's step back a bit. So a boat, when you're making a boat, there's a mold. And the mold is a physical heavy structure in which we lay the resin on the fabric. And what you find is that for a company to do it themselves, it gets very, very expensive. And I said earlier in the video, it's a matter of efficiency. So nothing is really wrong if a company will subcontract out certain parts of its work, once the contractor makes that product to his specification. So for example, Ferretti and Azimut is not the same hull. It is made by the same company, but the hull would be made based on a specification of either Ferretti Group or Azimut Benetti Group. The geometry will be different. So it's not really, hey, we take the same hull and we just slap a brand name on it. They're made differently. Now, we're different. We make our hull in-house. We make our own everything in-house with our own crew, with our own lamination, again, because we're a custom builder. And so it takes more time. We use epoxy, which is infinitely more difficult to work with because it hardens so much faster. But it's lighter and it's stronger, and it's also better in terms of off-gas for our employees. And it would be difficult for a factory or an assembly line to use that. We use carbon fiber, which is a very, very hard material to work with and take a very certain skill set to work with it. But having said that, we're different. We're custom builders, they're mass builders. But nothing is inherently wrong if a company makes something to your specification. If you look at most of your pre-packed food you eat in your store, they're made in these giant kitchens in America. But the recipe is different for each vendor. Nothing is wrong. Again, I keep saying this over and over again. Nothing is wrong if it's done by a large company that make it to the specification of the builder. Let's keep going.
Now we already have the hull from the factory in Fano. Let's take a look inside. You enter the salon going down to the owner's cabin. You see beautiful wooden walls, wardrobes, beds. You think, the carpenter spent months fitting each strip to the curvature of the hull. Wrong. What you see is a triumph of modular engineering, not carpentry. The key observation we must make is the fact that in modern production yachts, the furniture is the walls. There are no traditional bulkheads to which the wardrobe is screwed. The wardrobe is the bulkhead. Companies like Zago and Bolici produce entire interiors outside of the yacht. In their halls, ready boxes are created. complete cabins with flooring, ceilings, and furnishings. This ready module is then lifted by a crane and inserted into the empty hull before the deck is installed. It is a plug-and-play system. It is mounted on flexible connections, industrial adhesives like Sikaflex, rather than on rigid laminated joints as in the past. What are the consequences? First, noise. When the yacht hits a wave, the hull naturally flexes and bends. Since the interior is an inserted box rather than an integral part of the structure, it starts to creak. This is the famous creaking interiors, a nightmare for new yacht owners. Elements rub against each other because they are just furniture pretending to be walls. Second, material. What looks like solid walnut or oak is actually engineered wood.
So I'm going to pause there just a bit. So this is where there's some truth. It's when you're making a yacht and you got to make 50 a month, it's modular. The key thing is plug and play. You made the yacht, he made the furniture, you put it in, and you go. And you get what you pay for in some cases. And it's a production company, and so for speed, you can do that. On our company, it's different. We literally make the furniture to fit the hull. There's no squeaks. You can take our boat, drop it off a wave, a 10-foot wave. There's no squeak. It's one product. It is integrated. It is screwed. It is laminated. It acts as one. It moves as one. I would challenge anyone to be at the helm, turn on the engine, see if you hear it when it's on. It is well insulated. We have a proprietary system to keep it quieter. So yes, this is where you have a separation from a production boat to a custom boat. But it's not a big deal. If you look at BMW, they make a 3 or 2 series. They also make a Rolls Royce. Same company, different product, different way of production. And so if you want to afford, the client who can afford a 2 series or a 3 series may not be able to afford a Rolls Royce. And what goes into a Rolls Royce is a lot more money to create that luxury, that feel, that leather, that furniture. And so that's how it's different. But yes, he is right. If you drop something into a hull, it's different. It cures differently. You have different forms. It's not a uniform product in every single part of the boat. So the craftsman, as he goes along, will make sure that everything fits and fits perfectly, and it's screwed, it's tapped, it is glued in place. And so yes, this is where a custom yacht is quieter, smoother, and one that's not, you hear some rattles and some squeaks. And with our company, we have a lifetime warranty on squeaks and rattles.
Engineered wood. An ultra-thin layer of fine veneer, often thinner than a millimeter, glued onto a honeycomb of aluminum or paper, or onto lightweight plywood. It looks luxurious in the showroom, but it is delicate and difficult to repair.
So I'll do one last part, and I love woods. One of our first yachts, we used sapele, a beautiful finished. We did old world style, where we did 9 layers of varnish. I mean, with the same humidity, at the same temperature, it was polished. I mean, so we did that and it came out beautiful. So yes, this is very important to me. Now, let's back up a little bit. If you want a yacht to be light, you can't use solid wood. You have to use a honeycomb material and a thin veneer because of weight. So we do that also based on what class boat we're building. We have a honeycomb layer and a thin veneer because we want it to be lighter. On most of our yachts, we use a solid wood and steel honeycomb system because we want stiffness along with beauty. Our teak that we use is thick. It's almost 3/4 inch thick. You can sand that teak for the next 20 years. Whereas if you go with a mass-produced boat, if you even get teak, it's a lot thinner. It is plantation raised, it's softer, won't last as long.
Let's now move to the exterior deck. Here, it's easiest to see how ruthless the fight for every cent of profit is. Let's talk about teak. Teak wood is synonymous with marine luxury. It is oily, does not rot, and is not slippery. But true, royal teak comes from Burma, and here we have a problem. Due to sanctions imposed on the military regime in Myanmar, the import of this wood to Europe and the USA is illegal. Shipyards like Sunseeker and Oceanco have already paid fines for violating these bans. So what are the shipyards doing? They are switching to plantation teak, for example, from India. This wood grows faster, which means rarer rings, lower density, and a lighter color. It is simply inferior. But it's not the quality of the wood that is the biggest scandal, it's the quantity. Just 20 years ago, the standard on a luxury yacht was a teak board with a thickness of 12 or even 15 millimeters. It could be sanded multiple times and lasted for decades. Today, the norm in production yachts is becoming 6 to 8 millimeters. These are not boards, they are ready-made mats, prefabricated panels glued to the deck. Let's assume that teak naturally wears down about 0.5 millimeter to 1 millimeter per year from the sun, salt, and washing. If you start with only 6 millimeters and the groove joints are 4 millimeters deep, then your deck is a disposable element. After 5 to 6 years, you have nothing left to sand. Instead of renovation, you will face replacing the entire deck for tens of thousands of euros. This is planned obsolescence.
So I want to add also on teak is at our shipyard, we ship the teak in just raw wood, and it sits there for weeks because we want to get the humidity right and also how dry the teak is right. And so if it's warped, start bending, it's sent back. You don't want to put teak on your deck under tension. So I mean that if it's twisted and you straighten it and glue it down, it's under stress, and it wants to go back to how it was before. So we spend a lot of money and a lot more time and wastage to get teak in its natural form. It sits for some time, and then when we lay it, it won't move. That costs money, it takes time. Versus on a production boat, if you do a teak, you have to buy it on a pre-made plank, so it's been sanded, sandwiched, and you place it down. Very, very different. But nothing is as beautiful as a beautiful teak deck. It's under your feet, the wear of the yacht, it's beautiful. And because of the resin in that teak, it won't rot or decay.
Similarly, the situation is with stainless steel. In a marine environment, aggressive and salty, there is only one king, AISI 316 L-grade acid-resistant steel with the addition of molybdenum. However, molybdenum is expensive. Therefore, suppliers pressured by shipyards to lower prices reach for a cheaper substitute, AISI 304 steel. It is about 30% cheaper. In the sales showroom, polished to a high shine, 304 steel looks identical to 316. The customer does not see the difference, but chemistry does. 304 steel does not contain molybdenum. In contact with seawater, it quickly undergoes pitting corrosion. That's why there are so many photos of annual yachts from brands like Bavaria, but also Azimuth or Princess, with ugly rusty streaks on hinges, railings, and fittings on internet forums. This phenomenon is called T-staining, T-stains. It's evidence that savings were made on materials, hoping that the customer wouldn't notice the difference before the warranty expired.
So let's spend some time. So he's absolutely right. In a scenario where you're competing on price, you will always find that one will cut cost or cut quality to achieve price. And if you're shopping on price, then you get the cheapest thing you can afford and you go ahead. But if you're shopping on quality, then you get the best stainless steel. But I'll add to that too, is the radius of that steel. So if you hold your hand on a steel that is 2-inch round versus 3-inch round, they feel different. One is beefier, one is stronger. All our yachts have thicker, bigger steel pipings, highest grade steel, highest grade anchor, and also higher on the deck. So when you're walking, if the railing is at your waist or lower, you may fall over. If it's above, there's less chance of you falling over. It is curved to fit the curvature of your yacht, which takes more money and more time. And so it is the small things that are important in a yacht, not just the steel, but the screws that goes into the steel. And then how is it anchored into your boat. It's just screwed into the boat. When it was being manufactured, did the engineer design somewhere to anchor that railing into? So those are small things that you will never see when you go to a fancy boat show and it looks beautiful. But us at Monarch, when we're designing our boat, those are part of the process. If you need to replace your steel, it's easily replaced. It's designed for that. It's stronger, it lasts longer, it's more beautiful. I'll give another example. The bulb that goes under your stairs for lighting. Yes, you might say, okay, fine, your builder might have a very, very nice, beautiful steel, but that bulb, the rubber rings around it will crack. Salt, air, and water will make it crack. And it's cheaper to have a two-piece bulb that you screw on and it's there. But we use sealed bulb. There's no rubber to crack or get dry at all. And so it's the small things that makes it different. That's why I said earlier, it's not where it's made, it's how it's made. And you get what you pay for when you get a quality boat.
Why is this happening? Is it just greed? It's the system. It's a phenomenon we've called fast yachting. Once a yacht model was produced for 10 years. Today, the market, driven by Instagram and a nouveau riche lifestyle, expects newness every season. Shipyards release new models every 2 to 3 years. The product life cycle has drastically shortened. This puts pressure on engineers and subcontractors. There is no time for long-term testing. Yachts, especially the first units of a series, hull number 1, are often completed in a panic to make it to the shows in Cannes or Dusseldorf. A customer who buys such a yacht becomes an unwitting beta tester. There is also price pressure. In February 2026, Marco Valle, CEO of the Azimut Benetti Group, stated directly in an interview, "The era of guaranteed business is over." He warned suppliers that they must lower prices because the shipyard is looking for alternatives. This is called cost squeeze. When a subcontractor from Fano or Venice hears that they have to do the same but 15% cheaper and faster, they have no choice. They shorten the curing time in the oven, they buy cheaper resin, they use thinner veneer. The effects? Gel coat cracks, so-called spider cracks. They appear when the hull is removed from the mold too early, before the chemistry has fully set. The laminate is still minimally...
So he mentioned something I want to go over, gel coat. We don't make gel coat on our yachts. They're all painted. And it costs more to paint a yacht. A lot more to paint a yacht. But it's the best. The finish is more beautiful. And to go back earlier, yes, most yacht companies, each year, new model comes out, new mold, new look. We don't do that. I want you to look at something. Look at a 69 Mustang. It's beautiful. Look at a Porsche 911. It's a beautiful design that is timeless, hasn't aged. Even the Volkswagen Beetle, beautiful design. And my favorite, a 1957 Mercedes-Benz Gullwing. Timeless beauty. If you make it beautiful, it will last. And so what we have done is, our models run at least 5 years. Same model, some tweaking here and there, but beauty lasts. We're not chasing someone on some Instagram who want to get the flashiest boat. It's quality, and quality endures. And quality does not need to be changed every year to fit some new fad. Our boats are designed to last, and our idea is this. We want in 10, 20 years to look just as beautiful. And that's why we paint our boats. It's hard to fix gel coats. What gel coat? So when you have the mold, the first thing you put in is a gel coat layer, which is like what you see outside on your boat. And then you lay fabrics. And the yacht should cure over 2, 3, 4, 5 days. The gel coat and the resin cures at different rates. So what happens is that you have cracks, you got to go and fix them. We don't have that. So our boats are made epoxy and we paint it. We sand paint 3 or 4 or 5 times. This is a perfect finish. Then we seal it. More like what you see on your car. A beautiful mirror-like finish that is exceptional. And we use metallic paint if you want, if the client so chooses, or regular. But it takes more time, it takes more skill, but the effects are more lasting. In conclusion, and that's his pitch, which is great, I think you should always have a representative working for you. Even if you buy, I tell people, if you buy a new car, bring a guy to the dealership that does know about cars. A yacht is no different. Take someone with you that is an engineer, that's a surveyor, that's a captain, and go through the process. At Monarch Yachts, we have an office for your captain. So you buy a boat from us, we actually create an office, a key, for your captain to come to our shipyard anytime they want to with zero notice. And so, because we're very, very transparent in what we do, and we want him or her to see how it's made and give their input as we go along. That's extremely important. Now, nothing is wrong with buying a production yacht. It's probably the best bang for your buck if you're in that market, and the Italians make beautiful boat. But again, I'll say this, so does the Dutch, so does the English, so does some company in Asia. They all make beautiful boat. It's based on one thing: what fits your lifestyle, what's your mission, what works for you. And for us, we want to make boats that are timeless, boats that are safe, boats that are built to be reliable, boats that are easily repaired. And that's our niche. And we encourage anyone to call us, come to our shipyard, inspect what we do, and work with us. Thank you.